All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Solar Outsiders. I'm your host, Kempy. Today on the show, we've got Patryk Lazarz of Techman Pat. Mate, how are you and who are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm surviving with two kids under three, and look, I'm just a guy that's interested in a lot of tech, and
Yeah.
obviously everything to do with the house. So it's probably why we're talking about the batteries and solar.
Yeah, man. So I came across you on YouTube. You've got 30,000 subscribers. You're based in Perth. You're really into everything tech-wise, as I was once when I was 12. I grew out of that phase, but some people still are in it and they're going hard, and you're one of them, as many others
Yeah,
are in the industry. And I've had to, this industry forces me to keep going along with it. But yeah, I just don't have the bug for it like you guys do. So that's why I invited you on here because
yeah.
you
Thank you
guys
for the
really
invite.
have your finger on the pulse and know what's going on with everything. So I have seen you do a few videos that have got a bit of traction about the solar rebate. The new cheaper home solar rebate program for Australia in 2025. And what can you tell me about that living in Perth? I'd imagine you probably already have batteries on, so you can't participate in this rebate again, or what can you tell us about it?
Well, first of all, we do have running water and electricity in Western Australia. I think a lot of people get confused. So, we want to be, I suppose, forward thinking here in the state, and hopefully with this solar and battery rebate, we are. So, look, I was always interested in batteries. Like, I just thought it's so logical that once you put solar on your roof, why would you not capture that solar for yourself and use it up when you only got 2 cents? Back when I got solar, it was 23 cents. So it was actually quite a lot of money going back in, but that was a decade ago. I don't have batteries yet, because they've always been very expensive.
So
So
what's your
the
feed-in
return
tariff
on
there now
investment,
in Perth?
sorry,
What's your feed-in tariff in Perth?
2 cents.
2 cents, yeah. And it's
Yeah,
been like that for a
yeah.
while, has it? I believe.
For the last 3 years at least, yeah. Since
Yeah.
since I had my solars upgraded, yeah.
So in about 18 months, 2 years, yeah, we dropped from like 16 cents, 15 cents to like 4 cents everyone's getting now. So we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
I was
But
in
I
the
think
camp,
I
it
think
never
people need to
made
realize.
sense. So I was in the camp that batteries never made
Okay.
sense. They cost too much money. The LG chems are getting blown up. All the cheap
Yes.
Chinese GCL just looks rubbish. They're blowing up. You're getting paid so much money for your power. Why would you need it? Crazy. Why would you do it? And then you got to invest all this money to
Yeah.
get one. So I was in that camp and I used to laugh at you guys and everything and that. But it's good that you guys were interested enough in it, and I guess you had that desire to do it. And now it's come around to the point where A, they've gotten safer, B, the return isn't there, and C, you've got a rebate. So it all looks like, yeah, you can go ahead and
The
be
rebate.
a foolish battery buyer now, without being so
Yeah, well, the
foolish.
rebate makes a lot of sense. Like to the point where it's almost like if you have solar, there's no point not getting a battery. Like if you're getting both at once, you get both. It just makes sense. But I think to your point that you talked about earlier, the price is still the price. There is still a significant investment. And looking at today's economic environment, not a lot of people have like 10 grand just sitting around in a bank ready to drop on something that potentially only repays you back, after many years. So it's still a question of price. It's much cheaper, but it's sort of surprising because I follow the lithium price just because we've got Pilbara Resources here in Western Australia. They mine a lot of lithium, and that they're going down in regards to the share price because lithium's so cheap. And yet
Yeah,
I feel like battery prices are still overpriced.
yeah, right. Well, so the cheap end of the market, you can get like I've seen 40 kilowatt for sale for like 12 grand or something, 40 kilowatt of storage, like with this new rebate. Like that's
Wow.
backup. That's, cheap, dirt cheap. Who knows if it works kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
you've
Okay.
got, yeah, and then you got, all the good stuff that like you wouldn't even bother. Like you're risking a house fire or something, surely. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like there were people You know, I know of stories of houses that the gas exploded from the batteries and the house had to be fully demolished and rebuilt because it was unsafe to
This
live
is
in.
yeah, this is a lot of fear for people is battery fires. And I did a bit of research for my videos recently, and there's only been three fires that were directly linked to a battery. But to your point, you mentioned LG Chem. So a friend of mine got a battery about a decade ago,
Mhm.
and it was an LG Chem, 6 kilowatts, and he's had that replaced three times. He's on his fourth battery now because the first two
Like
had
seven
a
kilowatt
recall.
hour or something as well.
Yeah, something like that.
Not
Yeah, six
even
point
worth
six
the
point four or
six.
something
I was
like it.
about to say yeah. Yeah, I
And we
don't
did the
know.
math on it, and for 10 years, he just broke even. After 10
Yeah.
years, he broke even on the cost of the battery. And now, today, with the prices of batteries and the size of them, break even is less than 5 years for
Yeah.
most people that buy an
Yeah.
average
That's
price
what I've
battery.
found around 3.5 to 5 years kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Depends what you purchase, right?
and what you need and your usage. But yeah, I would have told that guy 10 years ago the same thing. Like, man, you're gonna not ever like get your money back kind of thing. But yeah, now I am telling, 4 5 year thing. Me and you are finally on
Yeah.
the same page, man. We've aligned. Um, yeah, and it's taken the great Albo battery rebate to do such a thing. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's funny, but I think it comes around a good time because solar feed-in is basically non-existent, and what is it, 4 million homes or 4 million systems already installed, which is like 25 or more gigawatts of rooftop solar. Like we got to do something with that, and batteries just seem to make sense.
Well, yeah, or you're just zero exporting all the
Mm.
systems. And I believe Perth's got some big issue at the moment with export.
Yeah, we're way over the limits of the infrastructure. Like think about it this way: infrastructure was designed to have your generators at one end of town, generating all the way down to the homes. But now you've got a decentralized power grid where everybody has solar feeding in, which is
Yeah.
just not the way it's designed. And this is I think a lot of people get very annoyed about it. They're like, oh, but why are we investing in solar and stuff? It's like, because the government screwed up 20 years ago when they didn't upgrade our infrastructure 30 years ago. And so now we're getting to a point where coal fire plants are expensive to run. They break down a lot. We've got all this decentralized power, and it's going to cost us probably like 2-3 billion to put batteries everywhere, but it cost us 8 to 10 billion to try and upgrade infrastructure to keep what we have going, like your coal fire and everything. So this is the cheap option, and it's subsidized by us, which is probably what makes people annoyed because we
Yeah.
still have to pay what, two-thirds of the price.
Well, you either got money to do it or you rent and you can't even put one on. Like, so it is
Well, yeah,
dividing that's
that's
that's a bit hectic because as you said, not many people have money. The people that have the money, they're ringing up and just ordering these things, 20
yeah.
grand, boom, I'll buy it. 30 grand, boom, I'll buy it. 15 grand, boom, I'll buy it. And then
But they'll
there's
be
the
better
the
off. That's the problem.
strugglers.
If you have money, you'll be
Oh,
better off
they'll
in the
be better
future.
off because it has a decent return. And then there's
Yeah.
the strugglers that are barely keeping their mortgage and their roof over their head. They're not
Mm.
interested. They can't be, or maybe if they get a finance plan or something, they really have faith in their job and they'll get there. And then you got
Yeah.
renters
Yeah.
that are like, my landlord won't even fix, this thing that's going on. So they're not going to do it. So
No
in
landlord's
that
going to do
terms,
this at all.
yeah, it is an interesting thing, but they're probably not watching this video. The other thing is you just released a video saying the best solar batteries for 2025, or I guess for the
The
rebate.
brands. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And let's go through some of those brands, man, that you mentioned. So you had
Yeah. Absolutely.
Alpha coming in. What, that coming at the bottom? The
No,
Alpha
it was look.
Smile.
It's kind of hard, right, to try and put them, but I think it was second. I think I was definitely a good second for me for Alpha.
Oh, you like
And I
Alpha?
have a friend who, well, I have a friend who have Alpha, so I checked it out at their house, and
Hmm.
he's raving on about it. He loves it, and the app, he's
Really?
really happy with it. So, after I did his numbers, he's saving money. It's good. He
Yeah.
bought it 2 years ago or a year
Well,
ago or
man,
something
if
like that.
if it works, it's as good as kilowatts, whether it comes from a Tesla thing or an Alpha Smile, and I hope you don't frown,
Yeah,
because they are, yeah, they're a lot better than they've been around for a while and early
yeah.
days. You know, they've even called and yeah, we had problems then, and then you hear, oh no, they've still got problems, and then like the price point is just, I can see where it's so tempting for so many
It is so
people, but
tempting. Yeah.
there's so many people in the industry that are like, you get what you pay for, you know what I mean? So bit of a Chinese lucky dip that one, man. Um,
I mean, aren't they all made in China apart from a few
they
Australian
all
ones?
are, but it's usually the price is kind of does honestly very much tell you what type of service or reliability you're
Mm-mm.
gonna get. I used to always think, no, that can't be real. Aren't they all made in China? But there seems to be some. Who knows, man? That, and I'm not saying that could be the not be the best battery ever, but I'm just saying, man, like from what we've heard maybe this is a new model and it's way better. But your friend seems to be happy. How long's he had that in for?
2 years.
2 years, yeah. 'Cause we've heard a lot have had like, and they get out there. So the problem is with the cheaper Chinese stuff, the guys get out to site, they put it in, and then it doesn't work, so they go out to site, they call them again. The Chinese on the other end of the phone going, oh, hold up, we don't
Yeah.
know. You told us to come here, like, and you'd have it. You'd be able to tell us what to do. Oh yeah, sorry. We can't yet. You know, big Chinese whispers we call it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get that a bit, but hey man, who's to say they haven't fixed it and it all works 100% good as well. So
Well, we'll probably know more. We'll probably know more when all
oh,
these
a lot of
thousands of
going
batteries get
in.
rolled out.
Exactly. A lot
Yeah.
of going in. So fair enough. So what's your next one?
So no, so that was number two. So
Oh,
I
so
think I sort
start
of
at the
said, look,
bottom.
Sungrow
Do you
is
have a
probably
yeah,
yeah, start at the bottom. Okay.
yeah.
So I put oh man, I probably should bring it up. I haven't I
Yeah,
haven't
you
looked
bring
at
it
this for
up,
a
you
while.
can, man.
I had it on what do you call it? The last frame of the video.
Oh yeah. You got the pyramid,
There we go. Here
the
we go.
ladder.
Yeah, I started with sort of my suggestions for budget ones, right? So Alpha and Sungrow were my two recommendations
Hmm.
from a budget point of view, Alpha, and then from a much better product was Sungrow. Now you can probably tell me if Sungrow is any good, but I spoke to a guy in I think it was Brisbane actually who had a Sungrow, and he's had it for 12 months. He was pissed off that he didn't wait till the
Yeah.
rebates,
Yeah.
but he said, look, it's working. He's had no issues, and it was installed right the first time. And I said, okay, this is, I guess, this is one of the questions I used when I was speaking to a lot of these people was, did you have to call people back to come back and fix stuff, or tell you how it works, or reconfigure any of the settings? And there's only one that did, and it was one of those. It was an Australian branded battery. Now I can't remember which one it was because I had to cut this video down. I had 30 batteries that I spoke to everybody who had them, and then two of them were from a like an installer who told me a bit about it. So look, I think Sungrow is probably my sort of pick if anybody asks to say, hey, what would be the mid range all around good set of solar batteries?
Yeah.
Alpha C CSS I think is that budget. And I said in the video, and oh my gosh, the amount of comments people like I said, Tesla Powerball still sort of the best of the best, but people still hate the Tesla name for now. As I said in the video, this season's villain is Elon, so Tesla Elon one and the same. So and then Sigenergy, man, they just sound fantastic. I checked out their app. I spoke to an installer about it. He said he's always recommending it, but it's way pricier than I thought. Like once I got a quote for it, it was just is a lot. It's like nearly 20K for a Signet. Oh, 20 kilowatt, I think it was. So yeah, it was quite a bit.
Yeah. So we find the Sigenergy and the Sungrow prices to be very similar, actually.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so therefore, the Sigenergy is just getting all the Sungrow used to be our one,
Yep, yep.
where we would use because it's just been around so long. All the installers love it. You have to use what your
Yes.
installers love, man. You can't just be
Yeah, because they'll
going
continue
grabbing them
supporting
by
it,
the
right?
ear and learn this one. And then I'm like, I don't fucking like this one. Like, you can't get on the fucking phone to them. The fucking, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
don't fucking sell this crap. Fucking can't. Why didn't they buy a Sungrow? It's like it was like 5, 10 grand dearer, man. I fucking tired ass. So I just like that's what happens behind the scenes on this side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And or I'm like, well, then they would have bought somewhere else, man, which is true. They would have bought, the cheap battery from somewhere else. Oh, fuck. And then what? But then what work are we going to have, man? So it's all a big, crazy, convoluted thing. But yeah, yeah. So the Sigenergy, the thing is too good to be true on paper, on physical impression, on
Mm-mm.
installing it, on support. The thing is just in a battery dude's battery, as you know. That's why you love it so much. I guess that's why people can
Yeah.
pump the price up so much as well because they are now because people just want if someone wants the best, they would just go buy a Sig Energy, no questions asked. I got a guy, he just tried to ring me just then. He's like, we're trying to get his install in. They've got stock issues, so he'd be ringing saying, has my 10 kilowatt single phase
Yeah.
inverter arrived yet? Because they're just sold out everywhere. So you can pump the prices because you physically can. It's demand and how do I say that word?
Was it
Supply
demand
demand.
and
Yeah,
supply?
yeah, yeah. So that
Yeah.
so some people are
So
pumping them, but because they can and they're getting away with it, I guess.
so let me ask you this then. So when I was doing my research, I found Sungrow to be about 9 to 13K installed before any rebates
Hmm.
for a 10 kilowatt system, and then the Sig Energy one was about 15 to 20. Does that
Yeah,
sound about right?
yeah, with the gateway and things, probably 15, 16, like yeah. Not much more than Sungrow if
Not much more, but like I
because
think a lot of
Sungrow is
people
actually
will look
quite
at.
expensive for a Chinese inverter. But it can be because it's been installed and had good
Mm,
reviews and there's a lot of demand. Honestly, Sig Energy popped up overnight and just become look how good we are. So everyone's
yeah,
just
okay.
like heading straight there, man. Like, and then Sungrow, I guess you might see their prices dip a lot because you know about the Growatt
Hmm,
pricing
hmm.
and things like that.
Well, I do. So my last pick is Growatt. Now, this is what I'm leaning towards personally.
Hmm.
I've got a quote for that, and I'm Sigenergy was just that too much expensive for myself. Like even I
So
don't want to
Sig
spend that
Energy's
much money on it.
a fair bit dearer than Growatt.
Yeah,
Growatt
yeah,
is what we find to be, very similar to Sungrow. They'll have a new
yes.
inverter out in a few months, like a 10 kilowatt hybrid. That's our favorite base model. Anything lower than that, we don't go. But Growatt have been around for so long, like 12 years in
Well,
Australia
I've got a
now.
Growatt solar inverter
Yeah,
already, and
and you
it's
would have
been
been
magic. It's
yeah,
been
you would have been told, oh, it's a piece of shit, man. It's like 12 years old. It was the worst
yeah,
inverter
yeah.
installed back then, apparently, and it's still going. Like, wake up,
Yes,
like, man,
yes. That's
here's the
why I've been leaning
facts.
toward it.
Yeah, so that's why we use them too.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, yeah, we
And their
use them
prices
too.
are really reasonable.
Oh man, their
Yeah,
prices are fantastic. So, the Grow and Sungrow machines and everything they put in it, very similar stuff usually. Sungrow have the gift on their side that they were the first Chinese inverter to arrive in Australia, which was flawless.
right.
That's their thing. They came in around 2015, 2016, and as soon as they hit Australia, that was back then. Or even Growatts, man, you'd put one in and 12 years ago, you'd put one in, and in 3 years, you've replaced it two or three times. That's just what you
Wow.
did with every Chinese inverter. The thing is, back then, they all disappeared. Every Chinese inverter from 2008, 9, 10, 11 that was here in Australia, they've all gone. Every single one of them except for Growatt. So that Growatt always will have that all the shit because they were shit, man. Every inverter was shit. The only problem is Growatt hasn't done a name change like 5 years ago, which would have helped their market presence. But in the last, like, since around Sungrow, a year or two after Sungrow, every Chinese inverter has been flawless. You don't hear of bad Chinese inverters anymore. They all know how
Yeah,
to do
right.
it.
Okay.
The only problem is Sungrow was the first to do it. So they've always got, oh, it's a Sungrow because that's how it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But now, man, you could anything Chinese, like it's they all just no one's going back replacing inverters anymore. Like no more than a couple a year, and that's the same with Fronius. If we sell Fronius, like they got the same fail rate as like a Growatt or like we've never replaced a Sungrow ever. I've only sold 100 of them.
What about
But yeah, I've never replaced one ever. But in saying that, I've sold 1,000 Growatt and I've replaced like 7 or 8. Do you know what I mean? Like it's, and then
it's not bad.
if I've sold 200 Fronius, I would have replaced 5 or 6. You know, so the Chinese and the Fronius are just neck on neck, man. Yeah, in terms of
Yeah, yeah, gotcha.
yeah reliability. So yes, that's as like that's and who's not to say that there's lesser batteries because I don't know much about the batteries in terms of the cheap end. Like I told you, Alpha was a big no, 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 you don't go there, but you might go there now. You know what I mean? We don't know what we know until we know what
Yeah,
we know.
because yeah, exactly. And the batteries are an interesting one because they do have a lifetime of like they use like the more you use it, the more the performance drops, right? So
Yes.
how fast the performance drops is usually the indication of a quality battery. So
Mm.
you take your I talk about Tesla cars because they've got the most amount of miles that you've used the battery, right? So when you take a car battery of a Tesla, usually you can judge how much it's done by how many kilometers or miles or whatever you're counting it in. And so they've had a very good life, whatever batteries they're using inside. So if you look at a house battery, it's not going to do as much in regards to like, it'll probably, if you've got a 15 kilowatt battery, you'll probably discharge it maybe once a day, maybe 80% discharge a day if you're using it for evening, or maybe whole day if you've got a 20 kilowatt. So you're looking at 365 discharges a year.
Yeah.
And if you have a car that's got a 60 kilowatts, you're discharging that probably weekly, 60 kilowatts or even more,
100.
like
Yeah.
probably 2 or 3 days. I do it in 2 or 3 days. So I feel like it gets more mileage. There's heat differences. There's movement. Not that it should affect it, but there's a lot more going on. And it's high, like, when you accelerate, you're using a lot of the battery. When you decelerate, you're not. In a house, I don't think the batteries are going to be taking up that much sort of it's not a performance battery. So your batteries should last longer, and they're all LF. Was it LIFO or PO,
Oh,
whatever it is? So it's
yeah.
the yeah O. So it's the long life, very safe. They don't use any nickel, which means that it shouldn't set itself on fire or anything like that. And the only thing I've seen, and you can correct me on this one, is heat, right? So
It's a
every
big
installer
thing.
has
Yeah.
said, is it going to be sitting in a garage or outside? And if it is outside, they put a little note that your performance will drop by like 5 to 10%, or like 5% or something for a round trip. So this is the only thing I've really mentioned to people asking me is like, yeah, just don't put it in a hot area because it's not cooled. Like in a
So
car, the
with the
actual
EV
batteries are cooled.
cars, they tell you you'll get less distance if you sit them outside in the summer heat.
No, no, it's a bit different than that because most EVs will have their
They got the
own air
cooling.
conditioning. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got cooling for the battery. So what happens is the hotter it gets outside, the more power it uses to keep itself cool.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
That's
right.
why that's why it drops. It's not so much of the battery
Because
distance
we're
drops.
finding
It's because
sometimes with inverters now, like the big thing was put them in the garage. But the
yeah,
thing is, if they sit in the garage and then that ambient temperature of like 70 odd degrees just sits stale around them, they got
yeah.
no wind blowing around them, cooling them down that way. And I don't
Because
know
they don't
what
have
the thing.
fans, do they? Because my Growatt doesn't have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fan. It's just got a
No, it's got a big heat sink.
yeah,
And they've all. You should pick up a Growatt this 5000 TLX. Oh, they just bought a new one out too, like 6 months ago, but it's the same as the TLX. They're just updated. I think the smart meter now it's like a Fronius. You can see the
right.
night usage and everything. So there was always little things about the Growatt that was never, bells and whistles. But it's all caught up now, man. Like it's incredible. But what I'm saying is the thing weighs like a few kilos, man. You can toss it in the air. It's light as anything. Your one's like a boat anchor, like you're walking around like
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
got a 20 kilo sack of potatoes or something,
Well,
man.
I want to get a 10. I want to get a new Growatt 10 kilowatt in hybrid inverter.
Yeah,
That's what I think I
that's the
should
new
get.
one coming because at the moment you can
Yeah.
only put the two fives together, which is clunky and yeah. Yeah, they're bringing out a new one. Apparently September, October. Growatt, because I'm very I talk a lot. We've got a very good relationship with Growatt. You know what I mean? Um,
Yep. Yep.
and they said September, October. They've got this 10 kilowatt. Do you know anything about it? The single phase hybrid coming out?
No, I don't know anything about it apart
Yeah.
from the fact that it's one of the 10 kilowatts three phase is already available. That's
Yeah,
the one
that's
I'm
already
after.
available and that's very
Yeah.
good. That's got your backup and
Yeah.
everything. That's another thing. Batteries before didn't also come with like backup, like as readily
This
available.
is
Now.
massive. I
What's
don't
that?
think a lot of people understand that. They think they get a battery, they can go fully off grid. It's like that's not
Yeah,
the reality yet.
yeah, exactly. So it is with like Sigenergy and things like that now. Like that's a big thing. Back then it was just like you just use a battery power. So it was even less desirable once again to get a battery. But now that you can get a lot of people are doing it for the backup. Like I said, we had the Cyclone Alfred thing.
Yes,
Some
yes.
people in Brisbane 7, 10 days, man, like without power. So
Wow.
yeah, they're all saying I want the backup as well. And these three phase hybrid backups, they've now got that happening. The Growatt, the Sigenergy. So now where we rate it is Growatt is our base thing. If someone just wants a battery, that's good
Yep.
and has been sold for quite a few years without any issues, which we know about, we'll give them a Growatt. They want to go up, they can go to Sungrow, Sigenergy. That's where I'm keeping it at the moment. I get a lot of inquiries about power walls. I'm like, man, you got three phase, so doesn't why would you not just get Sigenergy? Oh, because I've heard
Yeah,
the
yeah.
name Tesla. I'm like, yeah, but look at like it can't do what you want it to do, man. And now he's
Exactly.
turning
Yeah.
around. And I'm like, sorry, man. Like, yeah, I wish you could get a Tesla, but I feel if I sold you this, you're not going to be having any backup. You're going to have three of them. I'm connected over three phase and everything. And oh, I don't want to
Exactly.
do that. I'm like, well, this is. But the other guy gave me a quote for that. I said the other guy doesn't know what he's talking about, man. Yeah, I'm starting to see that it all like contradictory about the research versus what he said, and then another guy said what he
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
That's the thing about this rebate, man. Everyone, all the cowboys and are coming out of the woodwork to have a go at selling this, and even me, man. If I don't know anything about it, that's why I've got you on and others because we're all learning, man. Because my customers are more tech savvy than me. Like if you'd look into everything you bought, so that's why you're looking,
Yeah.
because
Well,
you're going to know more about the
yeah, yeah.
salesperson about if you do go to a Growatt or if you do go see, you're going to know more. Yeah, but yeah,
Well, here's something I discovered recently. So when I was looking for quotes, I got a quote for a battery called SAJ. SAJ,
Sag,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a yeah,
There's
and
so
they
many of
have
these cheap Chinese things that have popped
yeah,
up that seem to have the same similar technology as Grower, even the same price point. I'm like, yeah, but
exactly.
why would I just not get a Grower, man? Like it's the same price. I see them all at the every solar show we go to, and there's so many Koyos or some other big name thing that's come through now. The amount of batteries that have just popped up with big budgets behind them and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but Growatt is so cheap and so good. Why would you sway me? Because
Yeah.
we have technical support here. So I'm like, so do they, man. And I've got a hotline direct number, Yeah. But what did you think about the
So
Sag?
SAJ,
Yeah.
yeah, so SAJ, SAJ, whatever they want to call it.
Oh, exactly.
They have a
I don't
limited
even know what to
warranty. They
call
have
it.
a
Yeah.
well, everybody. Well, look, it's I haven't actually. You know what's funny? It's the first time ever that these installers haven't actually given me a call. Usually, they pick up the phone as soon as you make an inquiry. Now it's just emails. They must be super busy. But anyway,
Some of them.
SAJ have a limited warranty of 10 years. Plus, on top, if it's got like a usage rate. So if you use up more than I don't know I can't remember what the exact number was, but depending on how many gigawatts or whatever it might be over the lifetime of 10 years, then you lose your warranty. And it's actually the first to come. So if it's 10 years or your usage. And so in WA, they recently changed the rebate, which is an absolute mess. they've done, and this is not the bad part. They've taken a $5,000 rebate for 20,000 people and gone, okay, we're going to give it to 100,000 people for $1,300. That's the rebate.
Yeah.
Hey, that's great. 100,000 people get to
Getting
get on the
solar,
battery.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But the new stipulation is that the VPP or virtual power plant is mandatory,
Oh.
which again, that's to me, that's the problem. I don't think it should be mandatory. Whereas, the federal one isn't mandatory, most states isn't mandatory. But here's the rub. If you go VPP, obviously your battery gets used more. So if you go with an SAJ battery, you suddenly have to consider the
Yeah,
fact that if you're
right.
on a
You're
VPP,
powering it
you're going to
even
use up
if you
your
don't
battery
want
more.
to. Yeah. Even if
Yeah,
it's not in your
exactly.
intent. Yeah.
So you have to avoid SAJ
How many
because
others
if
have
you're,
that same warranty stipulation if you went looking into it, man? You should do a
well, I
video
haven't
on
found
that.
any other.
Your
I
solar
haven't found
battery
any other.
warranty isn't what you think it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's a good video just to talk specifically about that, about
Yeah.
warranties and and then maybe I guess a question to you is what batteries have you installed that have had issues? Like how many times have you had to go out?
Me, never, because I've never sold any. I've only my installer. I always said as a retailer, the CEO here, the top dog, I was like, I'm not selling any of your batteries. The wholesaler's like, oh, next order with this Jinko Growatt, you'll buy a battery. I'm like, I'm never getting your battery. I heard Jim from Jim Solar, he had a fire. Like, man, man, you reckon there's only been three? There's been way more than three. I can tell you that right now. Maybe that's three that made it to the news or something. But yeah,
It was three
especially with the
reported ones.
yeah, yeah, especially with all the like that's why they recalled, man, like because of what happened. But yeah, I was telling them all these stories. The main problem was though not so much the fires and that, but the technical support where they just leave them in the lurch. And like there was a
Yeah,
time where
yeah.
installers that used to froth over LG, just suddenly it took them a while, till LG's finally, just neglected them for 2 years, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, LG actually, yeah, they have been very bad for the warranties, and they're leaving me in no man's
Well,
land. The customer's screaming at me, I'm screaming at LG. Uh, yeah, I wasn't for 2 years, but now I am, kind of thing. So while I was hearing all this, I'm like, if LG can't get it right, I'm not going to buy this brand new, whatever the new Sag is or whatever I get called with for
yeah,
months,
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
years. So we've only installed a few back, but my installers, because I use subcontractors. So there's difference between cheap subcontractors who are just like, hey, mate, I just got my subcontractor license. I'm ready to go. Have you done it before? No, but we've just got it. Or like I'm like, mate, you're not having to go with my customers. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that happening, and then that's the dodgy subcontractor. The other ones are the guys that have worked at these great, well-known solar retailer establishments that have done their apprenticeship through them as a 16-year
yes,
old,
yes,
come out. They're finally like 28. They've been there for 12 years. They're suddenly a senior electrician, and they're going around every day frustrated because they're fixing up the new apprentices fuck ups, on their jobs. And they're like, oh, if my mate, he's a subcontractor now and he does all what I do, and you should be paying me more than this, and I'm going to go out and do this because I'm sick of going around fixing everyone's jobs in the business. Like I'm worth more than you pay me. Then they're the ones that go, hey, I'm a subcontractor, I'm worth this. And they're the ones that good retailers like me pick up. Yes, they're subcontractors, but they're a different level. So
sure, sure.
so my subcontractors have always been doing the solar batteries because they had an interest in it, or they were just told by other retailers to go and put this battery in. So I've always known what's good and what's not. So yeah, and I've never been that interested that I'd just go around and tell a customer, oh yeah, this new thing sounds great. Who knows if it's good or not, man? I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
if it's
yeah.
good or not. I'm lying to you if I tell you it's good. So yeah, we only do so we've only done Sungrow and Sigenergy. That's all I've ever
Yes,
installed and
yes.
never had a problem with it. And I'm going to do Growatt because I have a great relationship with Growatt, and I know that these Growatt batteries have been solid for a few years. Yeah. that are out and available. So, man, thanks. We're out of time, but thanks for coming on, and I appreciate everyone going subscribe to him. He'll be doing a lot more battery videos, I'd suggest, in the near future, because he enjoys it, and you're in the market too.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
No worries, mate.